Welcome back, Claire.
Hello, how are you doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Um,
Good.
how's um, how's life? How's life treating you?
Yeah, good. It's not so bad. Um, yeah, I think in some ways you just kind of carry on a bit because that's the nature of life. It just keeps moving forward.
Hmm.
But of course, it's weird because it keeps moving forward, and then you keep seeing the news headlines, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse, and it's just quite bizarre. Um, when a lot of people still don't seem to sort of add the dots up, and you can feel quite isolated with the knowledge. I think people know there's a problem, but I don't think they understand how big of a problem we've got. And there's a bit of a disconnect between what people understand and what is actually the problem and how soon it's all happening.
Yeah.
So I'm not, of course, I think most people are completely aware that there is a problem. But I think, whether they acknowledge quite the scale of the problem and also how immediate it's all going to play out is another thing.
Mm.
So I find that quite a bizarre place to be, really, because I feel like you're just sort of treading water and having these conversations, and sometimes it's all quite meaningless because of what's going on in the background. And also some people realize the full extent of it and how soon it might all play out, and other people don't seem to even think there's a problem. So it's quite a bizarre time from that point of view. How are you finding it all, Josh?
Um, I'm going back and forth between like thinking, we're passing the point of no return. I want to go and see the world, and we can still do this. We can still cause radical political change.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to miss out on my opportunity to go and see the world. Do you know what I mean?
Of course not. No. So when might you do that?
Yeah. Um, I don't really say, to be honest, on here, but
Okay. No.
yeah,
Don't.
when all my legal things are finished, and
Yeah. Okay. Fine.
I
Yeah.
can leave the country again.
Good.
But yeah, I'd like
That's
to
something
go.
to look forward to. You can do it in an eco-friendly type way.
Well, I wanted to go sailing around the world. You see,
Yeah.
on a
Perfect.
sailboat.
That sounds great. So you should go.
Don't tempt me.
Well, there's no point in settling if you don't have chance.
I know, but I've still got this ankle tag on me.
Yeah.
I've got my.
Do you know when you'll get that off?
It's either going to be in about a month's time,
Right.
or when all this court is finished, or it's going to be in a year's time when all my court things are finished.
Okie doke. Hold on one second.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. You've got young children.
Yeah. So well, I would just go for it once that's come off, and then worry about everything else after that. Really, I think you've done as much as you can. That's what I was trying to say.
I disagree with that, but go on.
Well, yeah, but then what I was also trying to say to you is you need it to be sustainable, and you don't want to burn yourself out. So there is a balance to be found with that. I admire the commitment, and I know where you're coming from, but I also think you don't want to put yourself under so much pressure that it affects you mentally. So what are you thinking then? What's your other option other than sailing around the world?
Well, staying in the UK, and once I get this tag off and I'm allowed to protest, like kind
Yes.
of walking a fine line between being right in the eye of the storm but not being arrested. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
doing like
On the fringe a bit more.
right on the fringe, yeah. Just to be
Yeah.
maybe do the odd action and get arrested again, but not like a
Not,
serious one.
yeah,
Like a
yeah.
light one. Do you know what I
I
mean?
know what you mean.
And
Yeah.
then podcasting through that entire experience as well,
Yeah.
in those circles and seeing people on the streets. And imagine if you could podcast with people whilst doing actions,
That'd be very cool.
like a podcast from the top of an oil tanker or an oil silo.
Yeah, that'd be very, very cool. Yeah.
You know, you could glue yourself to a Van Gogh painting and start recording podcasts.
So which one do you think you're more likely to do than photo bombs?
Probably the second one, to be honest.
Okay.
The sailing one is going to happen. Like, I will sail around the world. Like, that is something that I'm absolutely going to do.
Yeah.
Like, it's a life ambition of mine.
Yeah. You're just wondering when, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, only you can answer that. Life has a funny way of, directing you. So if you feel like you still want to do on the fringe of just a oil, then you should do that for a while before you do that, sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know. It's difficult, these decisions, aren't they?
Yeah.
It kind of has to come from you as well. You have to sort of just...
I'm in court. Next week again for not handing in my passport to the police station.
Okay, so you're going to do that then?
Well, I was supposed to have already done it, and I've not done. So now I've got a court case. I've now got a court date for that.
Yeah.
I've got a football banning order for invading a football pitch, and part of that is you got to hand in your passport when England's playing outside the country.
Oh right. God.
Yeah, I'm quite aware of that before the action.
Well, this is what I'm trying to say to you is, I admire all of it, but at the same time, there's heavy repercussions for you personally as well, isn't there?
Oh yeah.
So, has to be sensible, and it has to be like something you can sustain as well. So, if you lose too much of your liberties because of it all, it's too hard on you personally. So I get it, but at the same time, if it can be balanced in any way, like you're thinking, I'll do the fringe bit rather than, at least for a bit, it's not saying you'll never do those other things again, but, you just have to think about the repercussions of it as well,
Yeah. Yeah, well, I kind of
because
when I started, I kind of said to hell with the repercussions, I'm an indefensible on Earth trying to protect this world.
Yeah.
And I kind of decided whatever the consequences, I'll take them. And the consequences on my life have been quite severe.
That's what I'm saying. And the thing why I'm saying this as well is it's to do with your mental health and protecting your mental health as well, and doing back to back, really hardcore, and then getting serious, severe. I get it, but at the same time, I think you just have to think it through a bit, and a bit like, how's it going to impact on, like you're saying, like with relation, you have to think of it from every angle.
Well, as it stands right now, I'm single with no kids.
Yeah, so you're in a sort of different position, but to the one you were just in, if you like. Yeah. It's complicated. It's not easy. It's, you know, there's no easy answer, is there? That's the thing. So
No.
but you know, other people are prepared to do it as well. So you're not. It's not like you saving the. I get the notion, you know, but at the same time, you're not alone trying to do it. You know, there are other people. And potentially, once you've, you know, maybe there is room for you to have downtime or rest or whatever. You know, do you see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Not just do. I just worry that, you know, for people's mental health as well. That's the thing. I admire it, but then I also am concerned if it's too back to back, you know, where does that leave them, you know, financially, emotionally, you know, passportless, whatever you want to call it, but in a not a great situation, in lots of an unempowered, you know, not empowered in some, very empowered because you fought for the cause, but from a personal point of view, things have been taken away from you that are sometimes quite vital, you know. So I just think if you can do it in a way that you can limit that at least a little bit some of the time, then that's a good thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's a difficult conversation, really, because you're weighing up, you know, how much personal sacrifices is any one person willing to make, and some people make a lot of sacrifices on their lives, and some people just make some.
Yeah.
I'd be one of those people that have made quite a lot of sacrifices. If I hadn't been,
Yeah, I know you have.
if I hadn't joined in,
That's why
if I didn't join in Slate
yeah.
Wrestling and I was just like carried on working as a bricklayer, I was making like 50 grand a year. I was saving like £400-500 a week. I'd probably have like
Yeah.
20-30 grand in the bank now or more, and I'm looking at buying my own sailing boat. Like, I'd be quite well on my way to living my dream. I've had to put all that on hold.
Well, you would. Yeah. But and that's sensible because, you know, because if there wasn't a climate emergency or catastrophe or whatever you want to call it, like, then that would be fine. But obviously, I think, you know, the only sensible thing to do is to recognise the situation you're in and try and do something about it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't necessarily think, even if you were the builder and you made X and you got X, I don't even think that would have made you happy when you know the lowdown with what's going on from a sort of planet perspective.
Well, yeah, I
You
wouldn't be
can't
able
enjoy.
to. I wouldn't be able to look myself in the eyes, and I wouldn't be able to
Yeah,
look the next generation in the eye and say like I tried.
yeah,
At least like now, I'll be able to look
yeah,
like 20 years from now, or even 10 years from now. I'll be able to look children in their eyes and say, "Look, I actually really tried. I made my
yeah,
sacrifices, and I gave it my all." You know,
yeah, yeah.
you won't be able. You can't like. Oh, my conscience will be clean. You know.
Yep, 100%, and that's massive. That's what I'm saying. Even if you'd have been more well off and with all this a boat and la 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 and 50K a year, like ultimately you wouldn't have been happy because you wouldn't have been able to look yourself in the eye. So, you know, that's it. That's your answer. So I guess you just got to discover what the next steps are for you. But I think sounds like you've got the right idea with doing it like more on the side, at least for a while, just to recuperate, you know, give yourself. I'm not saying you'll stay, you know, maybe you'll want to do something more, you know, like larger scale or whatever, more radical, whatever. I'm hoping that the whole Just Stop Oil thing, what I'm hoping for, you know, will become more redundant if, you know, the people that are running the fucking country could actually take some responsibility and stop investing in fossil fuels. Do you see what I mean? Like, there wouldn't need to be people like you and everybody giving up such huge, it shouldn't, I just want it to turn around so that the people that are supposed to look after us do their job properly and look after us, Doesn't look likely. the one that's following me around. The whole thing is just completely outrageously something like the governments have to start turning this around because, it shouldn't be on people to take things in their own hands in this way, should it? The government and, leaders are there to lead and they're not leading. And that's just so fundamentally wrong because they're paid a huge amount to lead, and they're not leading. So they're not doing their jobs. So it's not just the fossil fuel industry, but it's just governments as well. And so the sooner that they start recognizing, the climate emergency for what it actually is and the scale that it is and how urgent it is, hopefully that will happen at some point and more action will be taken, and then people like you won't have to do what you've done, which is unbelievably awesome and heroic. And I think that of all the environmental activists doing massive actions, but again, there's leaders that are supposed to be doing jobs here that should be or next person's shoulders that are doing big actions. It's not how it should be, is it? If you know what I mean. The whole thing is, and then the court system is anti you. It's just so crazy, the whole thing. I just want it to turn around, almost to the point where they don't even need Just Stop Oil, and they're like, actually, we're just doing what we're supposed to do. And we're sorting our shit out. And we're not subsidizing fossil fuels. And we're going to go down the renewable. And we're going to go hard and fast down that, like, now, That would be the best solution, really, rather than too many people giving up too much of their, too sacrifice. Hey, say hi. Hi.
I keep losing you.
You? I don't know.
When you get WhatsApp, when you get a second phone, we'll have to do this properly. Because this audio quality is what come out as good as I've been doing it normally. But this'll do now for a while.
The thing is, we can do one. We can do a proper one. Yeah, we're on the, But you see what I'm saying, don't you? Like, I want a situation where people don't have to sacrifice to that extent,
Yeah.
Because, globally, governments, all of them, and the leaders are, they're supposed to be looking after the citizens. And part of that is, reducing fossil fuels, and then they would be protecting their citizens. It gets me so cross that, like, everybody is having to do it this way when they should be doing it. That's what their job is, And don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean I don't, I still, I really admire everyone for doing it. I just want people, I want it to be in a capacity that you can cope with personally and everyone else, and not to see people sacrificing too much. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the problem. Everyone and crashing and burning because they've done one thing after another, after another, after another. I don't think is sensible. That's that. You know, do you see what I'm trying to say? I think there's a middle ground in there somewhere. And I know you're one that goes all out, but even for you, maybe you need to hear that a bit. You know, at least contemplate it, and maybe you'll be like, no, I'm ready for the again hardcore. You know,
I'm kind of.
maybe you'll be more. I'm glad that I've sort of imparted a bit of that.
They've got me on a short leash now.
Who?
The courts. The courts
exactly.
have got me
So
short leash.
Yeah. There you go. You know, that's it. You massively lose your personal freedom in a way that, you know, no one ever should for doing something extraordinary, brilliant. You know, and it's totally wrong, but it's still a fact. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean.
So you have to be careful, I think. And I would urge you, you know, to just think about playing it a bit safe for a while at least.
Yeah.
Did you hear that last bit?
We'll see.
I mean, at the end of the day, only you know what you want, you know, but at least I feel like I've sort of, you know, given you something to think about at least a little bit. You might just dismiss it and that's fine. But yeah. All I would argue as well is I don't know who could cope with, you know, mentally cope with just one thing. You know, I would argue that at some point that would catch up with you on an emotional level. Does that make sense?
Well, it's more the consequences rather than the actions themselves. I could do like in celebrity. I think I was arrested like 13 times, like, and I was doing it back to back, and it was quite intense to be honest. But emotionally, I was fine. In fact, emotionally, I was happy.
Yeah. But then it's things like you say, like, you know, the passport issue, not being able to fly, you know, it's just, yeah. Anyway, it's something for you to weigh up. Because it's not all on you to save everything, you know, it's all on a lot of people. It's not just you or just
sometimes it feels like it's all on my shoulders, but I know there's a lot of people.
But it's not. It's not. That's what I'm saying is there are plenty of other people.
Yeah, but the thing is, like,
do you see what I mean?
Yeah, but the thing is, we could very easily fail. Like, the climate could very easily fail and think about the changes that are required, and all hell could break loose. Like, you know, somebody is going to have to do something extraordinary, whether it is in a podcast or doing an action for a painting or you know, doing something that's really not been done before. And that kind of weight carries on all of us, really. All of us who are you know, who are concerned about the climate crisis. I mean, it must be really frustrating being, you know, well, being someone who can't take action, like someone with young children, like for yourself, for example.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah, because
I can't see
you there. Oh, sorry, you can't see me. I can't see you actually.
Yeah, it's okay. So I've turned my camera off, so I'm recording with my camera.
Okay, fine.
The finished product has been me and you side by side.
Yeah. So, what did you just say to me? So, it
must be frustrating.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. Yes, I am. Because I know that that's the one thing that I can do. You know, with history has shown that. I'm well aware of that, you know. It's the time, but if you do, you know, get arrested, and you know yeah, had my kids because I want to be with my kids. I don't want to leave my, you know, that's the thing, isn't it? So yes, it's incredibly hard to weigh up that, and but yeah, I don't have the answer at all, but yeah, it's extremely hard. Yeah, it's not even jail. It's not just even that. It's more for me. It's more, you know, what's coming up for them in the future. That's the hardest thing. You know, what is the world going to look like, and how are they going to cope in that world? You know, because it's completely different to the world we're in at the moment, or like, well, I mean, the world we've had in the past. Once the ice is melted, it's a completely different world. And the ice is, you know, is melting at a ridiculously fast rate. So yeah, it's incredibly hard. But yes, I mean, having worked for causes and things over my whole life, I know that you can burn out emotionally if you don't take sort of good sort of breaks, and if you don't look after yourself, you know, it has to be in a minute. Right. Josh, I might have to go because
Okay.
she needs
Well,
me.
it's been good for it to be a short episode anyway, but the quality of the audio anyway, so we'll do it properly again soon.
Maybe just do some for now. Just do some slightly in the background type things. I think for you.
Right.
Have some time for yourself. You know,
we'll see.
Yeah. It's not selfish. It's not selfish like enjoying your life. You know, it's not. Right. Anyway, we'll talk again. But
Speak to you
good to catch up.
I'll speak to you soon. Yeah.
Yeah. When I get back from the Lake District, we'll have another chat. Okay.
All right. See you later.
All right. Bye.
We are the tongue that speaks the truth. We are the song upon the wind. We are the courage to stand forth. We are the change that now begins. On this good green earth, we will take a stand with an open heart and a healing hand. With an open heart and a healing hand.